In 1963, Ronnie Biggs and 14 other men stole 2.3 million pounds from a postal train heading to London. In 1598, William Shakespeare stole something much, much bigger. The place, London. The date, December 28th, a mere 3 days after Christmas. It is believed that one William Shakespeare, actor and playwright, along with notorious accomplices, the Burbage brothers, Richard and Cuthbert, and around 12 other conspirators, stole a building, the Theater, a playhouse on the northern bank of the Thames.
I feel I need to repeat that. William Shakespeare, beloved playwright, poet of the ages, stole a building! And I don't mean that he swindled somebody out of the deed to a building or convinced a little old granny to sign over the lease like a con man. I mean he literally took a building and moved it in the middle of the night across a river! And I'm not being hyperbolic to make the story more interesting. It actually happened exactly like that. According to the Star Chamber document from 1601 detailing the case, quote, "The conspirators did about the 8th and 20th day of December 1598 riotously assemble themselves together and then and there arm themselves with diverse and many unlawful and offensive weapons, as namely swords, daggers, bills, axes, and such like, and so armed they did then repair unto the said theatre, and then and there, armed as aforesaid, in very riotous, outrageous, and forcible manner, and contrary to the laws of your highness realm, attempted to pull down the said theatre, whereupon diverse of your subject servants and farmers, then going about in peaceable manner to procure them to desist from that their unlawful enterprise, they, the said riotous persons aforesaid, notwithstanding, with great violence, not only then and there, forcibly and riotously resisting your subject servants and farmers, but also then and there, pulling, breaking, and throwing down the said theatre in very outrageous, violent, and riotous sort, to the great disturbance and terrifying not only of your subjects said servants and farmers, but of diverse others they are near inhabiting, and having so done, they did then also in most forcible and riotous manner take and carry away from thence all the wood and timber thereof unto the bankside." Whew. End quote. That was testimony given by Giles Allen, the landlord of the property where the theater was built. The only issue with definitively connecting Shakespeare to this event is that he's not actually mentioned by name in Allen's testimony, but Richard Burbage, Shakespeare's lead actor and the owner of the stolen playhouse called the Theater, was mentioned. Giles Allen said that he didn't know who the 12 other conspirators were, and since Allen was away in the country when the whole thing happened, there's no way that he'd possibly be able to know if Shakespeare was actually there or not. And since both Burbage and Shakespeare had a vested interest in their theater, it's very likely that Shakespeare was one of the conspirators. But what about all that building they just stole? You can't just hide that. And what about the Burbage boys and their accomplices? Did they get arrested and carted away? Well, no one got arrested. You see, the reason that they took the playhouse in the first place is because the landlord didn't want to renew the lease for the plot of land where the theater was built. And since the landlord, Giles Allen, owned the land, Richard Burbage, the owner of the theater, was in a bind. His father built the playhouse, and he owned the playhouse, but he was being kicked off the land. So the Burbages really just took what belonged to them and moved, since the landlord owned the land, and not the theater. Nothing illegal about moving your own property. As for all that timber, they carried it across the frozen-over Thames and built a new theater with it. And they called that theater the Globe. That's all for this one, and as always, if you have an interest in Shakespeare, theater, or wordplay in general, take a second to like and subscribe. Oh, and let me know what you think about this story in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.